episode 3, Call to Be Obedient podcast. I'm Matt, and this is my co-host,
Tennille.
my smoking hot wife. At it again.
My smoking hot husband.
You're gosh
Can't
darn
leave that
right.
part
You're
out.
gosh darn right. Well, hey, so today we have a very, very special episode. We're going to be talking about trusting in God, even though things don't necessarily go the way that we think they're going to. It's not going to be necessarily even flow. There's a lot of rocky ups and downs through anything that we're trying to trust God and whatever it is we're doing. We're going to use some real life testimony, things that we are currently going through in this part of our life. And we both thought it was extremely important to just kind of keep the viewers and the listeners kind of involved and like intertwined, like what we're going through as well, because like you, we're real people. We're not some crazy entity or anything like that. Like, we're just normal Americans here in this beautiful country, battling through life's challenges. And no matter what we go through, God is our number one support system. Like, He is with us every step of the way. So I know everyone has their own struggles, but this is our struggle today, and just the importance of truly putting our trust in God. We want to start with a verse. It's going to be Proverbs 3, verse 5 and 6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. So it's a pretty common, very popular Bible verse scripture that hopefully you can put in your arsenal throughout your life. So I'm going to kick it over to my smoking hot wife here.
Okay, so yes, definitely very real, raw, recent testimony kind of leading up to this season. So where I was working, been working there for over 3.5 years, had just gone through you being deployed with our new baby girl. And you coming home and then returning to work not many months before this had happened. And kind of the culture, unfortunately, of where I was working was expected that a couple times throughout the year that there would be some layoffs, but never really like these huge shattering shifts of departments and a lot of people. It's just like kind of here and there where it's still unfortunate because that's people's livelihood. But so kind of leading up to that, there was a little bit more gossip than I was accustomed to, and some things that I had noticed where people were being like slightly a little bit more distant, but I still felt hopeful because my manager and how we were having our conversations was still like talking about future led things that I would need to do and projects and shifts and things like that. But that day that it happened, I had an unexpected mandatory meeting with a VP that I just hadn't met with before. I worked with senior VPs often, but this VP in particular, like, I didn't have engagement with very often. And I just had this like unsettling feeling. And so get to the afternoon and this webinar where you can't ask any questions, that's where I found out I was laid off. And I remember calling you and
I remember that. I remember exactly where I was.
sharing it and just kind of being in this like shock and daze. And the weeks following, I would say probably the weeks, maybe even a month or two after, is when it really started to hit, and how much I felt rocked and shaken in my identity and my security, my role as a wife, as a mother. A lot of things just felt very, very shaken for me. And it was very eye-opening for me to see how much of my security that I was putting into my job and my identity and self-worth and value into what I was doing, my title. That is our kind of lead up to this very shifting moment that has happened recently for us.
Yeah, and you had been working there for 3.5 years.
Oh, over 3.5
Yeah,
years.
so I mean, you put all that time and effort into that company, and just like that, it was just over.
Right.
Yeah, so with that, I mean, obviously, you're still kind of battling through it today. You know, it's still like a big, heavy part of your, our day to day life every day, and we're still trying to figure it out. But like, where do you find like a sense of like your safety, like right now? Would you say?
See, that's the thing that I felt like was really revealing through this. Like, I had never been laid off before, and I was going to church, going through the motions, and like I would say things like, I know God has provided in every opportunity, but when I would start to feel the stress or worry about what if I got laid off, or what if this were to happen in this job, like there would just be so much anxiety that would come from that. And even though I was saying things like God is my provider and God has given me these opportunities, like I wasn't really believing in that, and I didn't even recognize it. Like I feel like it's just one of those things that for me, looking back now and just being in the space where we're at now, that I'm like, no, God, truly you are my provider. Like you have provided all these times before, and I see that you've opened doors for me that could not have been opened had you not intervened and created that opportunity for me. Having someone reach out in my network that was like, hey, would you be interested in this opportunity? And I kind of just saw it as like, God's consistently providing for me in the standards of what the world is saying, like, wow, you're leveling up, and wow, this is provision. And God definitely provides for us in those ways, but it's a very dangerous mindset to not even notice that you're kind of creeping into, where you're becoming your provider, where you're becoming the person that you're relying on. Like my hard work, my accolades, my degree, it's my work ethic. Like those are very important things to have. Like God tells us throughout the Bible, like do things unto greatness, as if we're working for God. We're working for him and his glory. But that's where I think that slippery slope happens, is that we read those things and we think we're connecting to it, but really it's like we're doing it for ourselves. And we have conversations with other people telling our title, feeling good about ourselves, and it's like really, when it comes down to it, like that is a false sense of security. That I feel like God was so gracious to continuously provide me continuous level up after level up after level up, to show me this is what I'm capable of doing. Like me, your father, your provider, I can continuously up level you. But if your heart's not in the right place and you're now starting to take glory for things that I'm consistently giving you, like that's a very dangerous place. And so kind of like one of the scriptures that I know when we were preparing for this, for Matthew 6:19 and through 21, you can go through more of the scripture, but just kind of leading it off, do not store up for yourselves treasures on earth. And I would look at my bank account every month and be like, it's growing, like I'm doing great. But it's like, am I doing that same level of checking my heart all the time? Am I checking, my actions? Am I reflecting on what I'm doing? Am I reflecting on my relationship with God as much as I'm checking my bank account? And like, what am I doing for myself, making sure that I'm staying connected to God and connected to him being our provider? So
it's a lot of points you just brought up there. I mean, it's
that's what I do. I talk so much. I get so excited for like what God has to share, and I'm like,
well, the thing is like you're bringing up really valid points, because like you at home that are listening and are watching in, I know that all of us have been through some sort of like thing that didn't go our way, or some that we had planned just didn't go completely in the same pattern as what we had kind of like projected it to go. And you kind of just get to this point, you're like, what am I going to do next? Right. And, for me right now, for me, I'm about to get out of I'm getting out of the military. For those that don't know, like I got my DD-214. So I'm in that transition period right now, and I have hopes and aspirations and dreams to be a youth motivational speaker. But with that, like creating a business like takes time, and it's really difficult to kind of transition in from one whole piece of my life to another into a field that I have no true experience in, running a business. I haven't really figured it out yet. So me too. Like I felt called that I need to do this, but like I'm still having to really lean and trust on God that like, hey, this is what I want you to do. And I know it's going to be a bit of a struggle right now to start off, but I'm going to get you there. So each day, like I'm really trying to focus in and plant the crops and allow God to really come in and give me rain for crops to grow. If I'm not planting and really putting into what I feel God's calling me to do, if I do get that rainfall, the crops aren't going to grow. Nothing's truly planted. So I'm kind of in this season right now where I'm just trying to figure that out and continue to learn and like lean in and trust in God. Like, hey, like I have you, I have our family, but above all things, like the things that I'm preparing you to speak for and talk about, I'm putting that in your heart right now so that you can spread to the masses and try and be a small pinpoint in helping change this country and this world and the mindsets of young people.
Right.
So,
well, and that's something I kind of wanted to lean into as well, is that God will give you words that he wants you, or visions that he has for you. And sometimes it can be like, what do I do with this? And you look at how busy your schedule is, you look at your life and you try to fit in, all right, Lord, how can I fit in what you are telling me, what you want me to do? And oftentimes, as well-intentioned as we may seem, we end up letting the world orchestrate what it is that we do. Right. And we don't intentionally force like that stop of, okay, God, like this is what you've told me to do. Like I'm going to follow you. And part of this too is it's not like I was going around being like, oh, I'm so wonderful, I'm so great.
Yeah.
It's like we
even
both.
Though you are.
Thank you. Thank you. But I mean by that, and not in an arrogant way of like, oh, this is my title, this is my position, because I was talking to that earlier. But I think something that's really important too is like we both have in our prayers, like praying daily, have prayed for, Lord, use us, guide us, like please show us, reveal to us the parts of our heart that need to be revealed. Like David talks about that in Psalms. Like it's not a pretty clear cut, easy path that God's just going to lay out for you. Like part of that surrender of, okay, I'm going to continuously pray into this and lean into this. Like I wasn't thankful for being laid off at the time, but now I'm truly like, Lord, I am so thankful, because had I not been laid off, I don't think that I would have the kind of mindset and the mentality to just leap in and truly trust God as much as we are trusting and leaning in right now. Because it's like, no, you're absolutely correct, God. Like you're showing us you are a provider, and you've continued to provide for us even when we are stubborn, and you're showing us opportunities. Like I wasn't feeling fulfilled. There was things that were missing that's like I could have leaned into more. But it's not, this isn't like, I'm not sharing this to beat myself up of like, man, if only I had done these things and maybe this wouldn't have happened. No, I'm not saying that, but it's like part of just trusting in God and his journey and provision for us is that he's using all things for good, and he's using all things for his glory. And so if we're trusting in that and just having faith and knowing like, okay, God, like you provided for us before, you'll provide for us now. You're giving us these seeds and planting these visions for us. And this is the time you're forcing space and room for us to actually walk through what you have given us.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And I think that just kind of understanding, and now that you've had that time to really reflect on just kind of what's going on in your life and what we have going on in our future, is honestly, it's helping. You know, like it's given us a little bit of confidence to just move on to the next chapter. Granted, still have the pain and still have the scars for sure. But like, again, I've said it before, is God gives his toughest battles to his strongest warriors, you know? And I think that with us being in constant prayer every day of, hey, like, allow us to be more like you, give us the strength to really make an impact on other people's lives. How can I better my life for you? Because our purpose on this planet is to live for you. how can we, do that?
Yeah.
So
I mean, like James 1, 2 through 4, consider it pure joy whenever you face trials of many kinds.
yeah,
Like, God is giving us these trials, He's shaping us, He's growing our testimony. And it's amazing to just be more intentional. And like, even the time that we have with our children,
yeah,
and just how we're redefining our schedule and all of those things that it's like before we thought we were busy and now we're like
yeah.
we're so busy.
Oh man.
But it's good. It's like God's grace and his covering and just trusting in him, and he is our shepherd. We don't want to be our own shepherds. We want God to be our shepherd. So
One thing that we've kind of talked about leading up into this is trusting in God isn't always peaceful, right? Like, just because we trust in God doesn't mean that everything is going to work out the way in our favor. It's not our life, it's God's life. He's the one that's completely, at the end of the day, in control. But putting our trust and our faith in God, asking for his guidance, isn't peaceful, but it's more fearful than anything, because you don't know where it's going to turn out, and it's scary. But at the end of the day, like, that's where we come in at, is like, we have to truly trust and put our faith in God. Like, he's got us. Our worldly mindset is like, oh, this is scary, I don't know what I'm gonna do, I don't know what job I'm going into. But like, the thing is if you truly like trust in God, he's gonna point you and your family in the right direction. And I think that's like something that, for myself, and hopefully you, the viewers and listeners, can really just like take to yourself and be like, wow, like, I'm kind of going through it right now. I don't have a lot of people I want to talk to about it right now, but like, if I have that relationship with God, like, things are going to work out in my favor down the road eventually. It could be tomorrow, it could be next week, it could be next year, who knows? But you're going to go through the ups and downs of life your entire life. There may be times in your life, and right now, hopefully you're in this right now, is you're at a high point in your life. Like, just continue to really sow in and trust in what the Lord is calling for you and your family. So
absolutely.
yeah, good times.
Good stuff. Yeah.
Wow.
I love it. It's just, I think it just boils down to exactly what you're saying. It's trusting in the Lord and being obedient and understanding that in the waiting, in, being patiently still and trusting in him, like actively waiting on the Lord and slowing down is so important, because the enemy is just going to try to keep you busy so that you can be disconnected from God. And when things are happening, things are shifting, and you just feel like, man, like, this doesn't feel like this is peaceful for me, and this is forcing me to be in a very uncomfortable place, is where you know that there's an opportunity for like the greatest level of trust and intimacy and truly leaning in and depending on God, so that when you do get through that, because God's going to get you through it, you can look back and be thankful for the character that he's built in you, for the things that he's revealed on your heart that were false idols that have now been replaced with his truth. And then now you can identify that in other people, and you can speak life over them when they're struggling through something, and you can soften their heart when they're angry at God, when they're confused, when they feel lost, when there's people in their life that are blaming them for their own issues, versus just having a softened heart and compassion and empathy and showing them God's love with truth, of course.
Right.
So I just think it's really important. Like, God uses the painful experiences and things that we go through to be able to better help other people, love others, prioritize our relationships with others, and just spread his love and spreading the seeds, because that's all we can really do, right? So
Well, I think just a final like closing verse that's kind of fills into this topic would be Psalms 46:10. Be still and know that I am God. Just be calm, get through your life, and continue to put your trust in God, and just know that in his perfect timing, which is another segment, we will come up on the other side. And at the end of the day, like, when we're through with this earth, like, the life up there in heaven is going to be so glorious, and it's going to be so worth it. And just the relationship that you're building with God right now,
Right.
even through the ups and downs, is just, it's such an amazing relationship to have with the Father. So, yeah. I think that's what we have going on at the end of the day here. So, until next time, come back to this podcast, like, comment, subscribe, listen in on our next episode. Again, I'm Matt.
Tennille, we love you. Thank you so much for listening.
All right.